Hi, I'm Rosalie Kareem. I am a transformational somatic trauma healing coach. And this is one in a series of videos called Understanding Developmental Trauma and Healing. My passion and vision is that everyone who has a history of developmental trauma will have free and abundant access to information and resources that really help, so that you feel seen and understood, so that you understand and appreciate yourself better, realizing where you've come from and where you are and how much you have done, and so that you have a variety of options for ways that you can support and accelerate your own healing journey, regardless of whether or not you are also working with a trauma healing facilitator or group. I'm glad that you're here. I hope you find this information helpful and useful, and thank you for being you. Hi. So I want to talk about support. So in some of these talks, I have a lot of notes, and I'll pause the tape. You'll see that blip, right? Because I want to consult my notes and make sure I remember everything. And in some of the talks, I just start talking, and I seem to find what I need to say without having to pause. And today, I'm not sure which of these this is going to be. I might pause it just to take out that stumble I just did with my words there in that moment. Or I might just find my groove and just kind of flow on through. So we'll see. We'll find out together, right? Okay. Hi there. So this is to follow on. The last talk was about safety. And the key thoughts were that safety is the absence of immediate threat, or my body having the experience that there's no immediate threat. And safety can also be referred to in terms of this relax and relate state of or branch of our nervous system. So when I'm in a state of relax and relate, then I'm tending to be feeling safe. And when I'm able to really feel safe, I'm available to this relax and relate. So support, what's support? How is support different from safety? How do they relate? What do we want to know about support? How does it fold into our awareness and understanding of our developmental trauma and our recovery? That's what I want to cover here. So I think one way of looking at support would be to say that when I have support, I'm not alone, right? Support is the experience of someone or something that is with me and that is providing for me, or providing something to me in some way. And so support's important, right? Again, we as humans, we're designed to be social beings. We're designed to have family and tribe and community. We're not, our nervous systems were not designed to be isolated or alone. We're designed to have collaborative and supportive, right? Connected experiences with one another. And if we don't have those connected experiences where we're cooperating and providing resource to one another, emotional resource, financial resource, practical resource. If we aren't having those interactions, then we're not really in tune with our programming, and so we're going to feel off, right? We're programmed to relate and interrelate and be cooperative and supportive of one another. And there's something else about support, like safety. It's really it's a really big deal. It really helps to have support, to not be alone, to have someone, providing for me in some way. And it's less important how much actual support is there than it is what my body's experience is. In my body, do I feel like I have support? Do I feel like I'm not alone and I'm being provided for in some way? And that's a really important distinction, because there are a lot of people who, because of their trauma and the way that they're reprogrammed by the trauma, a lot of people who actually have a lot of support in their lives and who feel alone, isolated, and unsupported. And that can happen with us because, and I'm going to have another talk that's all about emotions and working with the emotions and recovering them. But when our difficult emotions show up, they're so convincing. So when I have an emotional experience where I feel so alone, these things, this happened, and there's nobody here, and I have no support. I have no support. I have no support, right? The emotion comes in, it comes with this story, and it says, look, the reason I'm here, the reason this emotion is here that's so painful, the reason it's here is because I'm alone and I have no support. And it's not the truth. Every one of us is supported by the earth. Every one of us is supported by the sun, even if we never go outside to see the sun, right? The sun is totally providing for our planet and all of us on it. One of us is supported by the oxygen in the air that we breathe. We're supported by whatever food it is that we're eating. So every one of us does have support. Now, we may not have anywhere near as much support as we really kind of need to be in a healthy and optimal state. And there may be particular areas of our life or particular avenues where the support is just lacking. So I'm not minimizing or I'm not diminishing the reality of where support isn't there. But what I'm saying is that with these developmental trauma patterns, we have this magnetic pull to have some unpleasant emotion in relation to some place of pain or want or lack. And that when the emotion comes, the story is just so overwhelming. And the emotion is overwhelming, right? There's an emotion of aloneness and lack, and also the emotion of overwhelm. I'm alone and I'm overwhelmed. And then the story. The reason I'm alone and I'm overwhelmed is because I have no support. And it's not the truth. And it's important for us to understand this because we need to practice experiencing support. Right? One of our assignments is to identify the support that we do have and to notice it and experience it and let it be bigger. And if there's a voice in my head or in my body that's saying, I don't have any support, you don't have any support, then and if we believe that voice, right, then that will get in the way. That will actually interfere with these practices of being aware of the support that I do have and savoring it and soaking it in and practicing, this posture of receiving support, similar to the posture of experiencing safety. We need to practice experiencing safety, and we need to practice letting in and allowing and feeling support and supported. And we need to practice that regardless of how many gaps there are in the support that we need, no matter how real those gaps are, because when I can feel supported and safe, it helps me feel better. It helps me think better. It helps my body function better. This is not like a bypass or a placebo. Well, maybe it is a placebo. Placebos can be good medicine. It's not a bypass. It's not a thing where I'm convincing myself that everything's okay so that I don't try to do anything to make anything different. It's quite the opposite of that. When I feel unsupported, and I'm having this enormous experience of being unsupported, then so much of my attention and energy is going into, holding my own hand or stroking myself or comforting myself or feeling angry or being with this pain of being unsupported, that I've got nothing left to actually work on. What can I do with myself and my life that will invite or bring more support into my life? And what can I do that will support myself more? Even if it's just me supporting me, how can I give myself more support? And it's not giving myself all that much support to be, wallowing is not the best word. It's not meant as a negative, but to be just hanging out with and feeling awful about, my feelings of being unsupported. So the practices that we want to do related to support, right? I have this profound developmental trauma, and I tend to not feel supported. I tend to feel alone. I can do it. I can take care of myself. I don't trust anybody else to do anything for me because I just don't trust anybody else, right? Starting from there, where do we go and how do we do this? So right now, I invite you to feel your weight on whatever is holding you up. And just notice, oh, this chair here is holding me up. Quite literally and physically, this chair is supporting the weight of my body. And just sort of letting your body allow that, feel that, however that is. I am literally being held up right now. And then I'm in a room in a house, the second floor of a house, and sitting on the earth, and the earth is holding up everything. The earth is holding me, literally, physically holding me up and holding up everything that sustains me. And just let yourself be with that. See how you feel that in your body, how that lands. How is that real for you, if it is at all? And if there's anything at your back, my chair has a back here, I can kind of lean into it. And as I lean back into this back of the chair, I feel that the back of the chair is literally, physically supporting my back. And for me, it's also a metaphor for my ancestors who are standing behind me with their hands on my back. They got my back. So the chair for me, the feeling, the support of the chair, I invite my back to feel the hands of the ancestors at my back, providing me with support. And then think about humans in your life, people who are supportive of you in any big or small way. Family members, community, friends, professionals. These could be people you pay money to for their support, or they could be people, you could even think about the grocery store clerk or the person who delivers your groceries. The people who just do service work in the world. They are literally supporting me by doing jobs that allow me to have my food. Right? There's a whole infrastructure, right? law enforcement officers and school teachers and people who fix the roads, right? There's so many people doing the things that literally give me a physical environment that has the basics that I need to live in. And I invite you just in this moment, just sort of be aware of your body and your energy and just notice what's happening. You know, how any of this is landing, what you're feeling. And whatever you're feeling is fine, right? You might have a warm feeling, or you might have like a reactive feeling, like this is stupid, or some kind of anger about one of the categories of people I mentioned. It's fine. Whatever is happening in you is totally, totally fine. So the invitation is that we coax ourselves, that we invite ourselves to sort of inquire and notice the support that actually exists. And then when I can find even a small experience in myself of some kind of support that's real, right? Some person or people who the evidence is very much there, they care about me and they're doing things to help me be okay. Yeah. When you find even a sliver of that, pause there. Oh, yes. Invite that to be bigger. Invite that to be bigger. There are people who care about me and they're doing whatever they can that will help me to be okay. And they're doing that because they care about me. That's a real thing that's happening. So I am supported. And the thing about developmental trauma is that it's all about, I had an overwhelmingly painful experience that I had to hide from myself, and I'm still hiding it. Right? So it's a given that we are hiding difficult and painful stuff from ourselves. So it's a given that there are feelings that are going to show up that are old and out of proportion. Right? The stuff that we hide, we have painful feelings, we hide them. Some of them kind of stay hidden until there's some trigger, or even many years can go by and then something happens. So, but they also sort of show up, you know, in shadow, in ways that we don't even recognize, in these subtle ways that we respond to situations. So those of us with hidden developmental trauma, which is pretty much everybody, but particularly those of us who have like a lot of it, right? It means that like our perceptions and emotions are being skewed all the time. It's really a drag. So what that means is, however I feel about the amount of support that I have, that feeling is probably not the truth. Right? The feeling, I tend to have feelings that are out of proportionately bad to what's happening in my life. So I can pretty much guarantee that there is more support available to me and coming to me than what it feels like if I just feel into it. And so we need to practice, because that's how we are. So we need to practice, like, what does support feel like? Where is there support? And then when we find it, like, oh, okay, I got that. Let's make it bigger, right? I'm just looking. I felt this little thing right here of like this sort of rising energy and this sort of sense of hope because of this person who offered me something that was really sweet. So I'm just going to hang out there and invite that to be bigger. Oh. And wherever you are, it's okay. And however you are, it's okay. Right? If you know you're supported, then I invite you to do your work of actually seeing if you can expand that feeling of support even more. Or look around your life and see if there's a place in your life where you actually don't feel supported. And sort of notice that and see what's real there and see whether there actually is some support there. Kind of expanding that. And if you don't feel supported at all, particularly if you really believe that you're not supported at all, if that really seems real, you just got no support. I guess in this moment I really want to offer like recognition and compassion to you and to the part of you, right? If you're having an experience that there is absolutely no support for me, then what that tells me is that very, very likely there was some point in your life, quite possibly very young in your life, where enough of your most basic needs were unmet that it was just as if there was absolutely no support, right? You were still able to breathe, presumably, right? You didn't physically die, so there was something there, but that you had some experience that the support just was not there, and it was too painful, and it was completely unacceptable. You did not deserve to be without the support you needed. You did not deserve that. And nothing that I'm inviting to you to do is in any way diminishing the validity of that experience of pain. And I am so sorry for the pain and the terror and the grief and the impossibleness of having been in that situation and then of having had to hold it all this time. So what we're looking for is compassion for ourselves, for our bodies, for all ourselves through the past and the present and the future. And then we're looking for finding and cultivating experience of, oh, right, in the present, in present time and space, there is some support. I can look around and I can actually see the evidence of it. And without any disrespect to the very real pain of the younger parts of me who were so hurt, and without any disrespect to the very real pain that might still be happening in your life now because of your particular situation. Without any disrespect for any of that, where though is there some support? And can I touch that? And can I find some sweetness and some sense of sustenance in whatever support is there? And can I make that just a little bit bigger? Because it will help me be healthier, be more clear, have more capacity to in some way make positive changes in my life, regardless of the circumstances. So no disrespect, and no, we're not writing anything off. We're not saying you're making this up. We're not saying you're ridiculous or you're exaggerating. You're not exaggerating. You are totally experiencing something very real. It's just that for almost every one of us, that thing that's very real is not very real in the present, or I'm feeling it in the present and it feels so real, but it's from the past. So the invitation is to find the slivers of support and to touch them and to allow some pleasure or relief or good feeling from whatever pieces I can find. And I sort of went into some of the content that will be in the talk about emotional embodiment. But that's okay, because that's a huge piece. Yeah. So support. So I invite you, wherever you are in your journey, I invite you to include in your practices something that is an awareness of support. I often include just feeling gravity, feeling the weight of my body, feeling gravity pulling me down, and feeling whatever it is that's holding me up. Yeah. And I also often include this sense. I'll put my own hands on my back and I'll say, I'll feel the hands of my ancestors on my back. Yeah. Those are two of the things that I do to practice feeling support, to practice allowing my body to receive support, allowing my body to soften into, I have support, I am supported. I also like to do just like gratitude, right? Arms up. Oh, I'm so grateful. Because I think gratitude is really sort of the acknowledgement that there is support and generosity for me. And by extending gratitude, even without consciously necessarily thinking about what the things are that I might be grateful for, the gesture of gratitude evokes and invites the feeling of support. Because gratitude is saying, thank you that I am supported. And inside that is the I am supported, right? It's like that acknowledgement of what's there, whether I'm really feeling it or however much I'm feeling it. So I encourage you to do your practices, to have a set of practices that you do every day. And I encourage you to include in those practices something that evokes and helps your body and your nervous system practice this experience of I am supported, experience of receiving, feeling, knowing the support that's here. Thank you so much for all of the amazing, amazing work that you are doing inside yourself. Thank you for joining me here for these talks.